there's something truly epic about a Jersey Jack pinball machine, and it goes right back to the Wizard of Oz. If anything was to describe a world under glass, Wizard of Oz would have been it. I think it was a game changer in many, many respects for pinball. I think it was probably the window into what could be done and what could be achieved in a pinball machine. And I have to use the word epic because it is absolutely that. Just finished watching the Deep Dive, which is an 18-minute promotional piece to help promote JJP's latest game, which of course is Avatar. And during the video, which contained movie clips, explanations about the sound, the gameplay, the design of the game with numerous input from multiple JJP employees, somebody said, epic isn't the right word to describe this. It is. Epic is the right word. It's just the word epic gets overused these days. Someone might call a bar of chocolate epic, or they, did you go on a nice walk? How was it? It was epic. Yeah, no, epic is the right word. This is exactly what it is. Let me tell you what epic is for me. Epic was, as a kid, was a Sunday, sat down, and Sunday would be movie day. And on the TV, there would be a film, and it would be big. Ben-Hur, Spartacus, Cleopatra, something epic, a real epic film that felt like an event. And this Jersey Jack pinball machine feels like an event. And you have to give huge credit for the team for creating this, as I say, they called it a deep dive, but this promotional video by all intents and purposes, because they've made that seem like an event as well. And there's just so much that seems to be impressive about this world that they've created. And I understand the theme of Avatar is not going to be for everybody, but I think even somebody that maybe isn't particularly into the world of Pandora, and I'm not. Avatar is not. I can't tell you too much about it. It was very evident watching the promotional video that everybody involved sort of knew everything, knew everybody's name, the name of every sort of tree and plant and every part of Pandora. I don't. But I do know that it is a visually stunning world. And I think if you're going to build a world under glass, then probably picking a world is the right thing to do on this one. I'm just going to give you my thoughts on the game. Clearly, I like what I see. And I'm going to say something perhaps a little bit controversial now. I like the look of Avatar, and I like the look of Uncanny X-Men, which, and I say controversial, people seem to be ever more divided in the pinball world. It almost seems like one or the other. It's almost like people are taking sides. It's very partisan, and I do find it a little bit odd, if truth be known, because I think we're in a golden age of pinball now. I'm not going to suggest it's the best time. That sort of, people would say the 1981 Bally era, a wonderful era for games. Of course, totally understand that. As you know, a point in the 90s where the WPC games were just off the chart in terms of their brilliance. So I'm not saying this is the best time, but we are in a golden age of pinball. And I think in many respects, there's never been a better time to have more choice of pinball machines. There's never been a better time to be happy about pinball, but I don't think I've ever seen, certainly the online pinball community, more angry than they are right now. And I think what I prefer to do is sort of look at these games and find things that I like up until the point where I played them. At that point, hopefully, if if you're a regular viewer of the channel, you'll know if I get to play a pinball machine, I don't like it, I'll tell you, and I'll tell you straight. But from what I can see so far, these look to be two very good games. But anyway, Uncanny X-Men has had its video. This is absolutely the JJP Avatar one. Before I go any further, let me just make the point on price. As I feel I always have to do this. We're a UK, we're a British YouTube channel here, so I'm going to be talking about British price. So it won't particularly correlate to some of the other prices. We've got, very happy to have so many people overseas that watch these videos, but I do understand the pricing is different. I'll give you a great example. A couple of last week I was driving along, and I had on Spotify, I had Don's Pinball podcast. If you're not listening to it, I'm sure most of you, anybody watching this, you're going to know that podcast. Go and listen to it. It's great. It really is. It's fantastic, and a really great way to pass the time if you're driving and you love your pinball. Now he was talking in one of his recent shows, one of his recent broadcasts. And he was talking about Jersey Jack. And I think it might have been the upcoming rumour that Avatar was about to be released. And he spoke about price. And Don said, he said he just found Jersey Jack was quite hard at the price point because he could get 3 Stern Pros for the price of a Jersey Jack. And I just really want to make the point. I was startled by that. And I guess I shouldn't have been. I just want to make the point, that's not the pricing in the UK. So I certainly can't get 3 Stern Pros the price of a Jersey Jack. I couldn't get 2. So I just think it's important to state that when I'm making a comparison, I'll give you an example. So the limited edition, which I think is the lowest, is the standard, the entry-level model for Avatar in the UK at Pinball Heaven, UK's leading pinball distributor and channel sponsor, 11,495 gets you the entry-level Avatar. A Stern Premium Jaws, for example, is 11,295. So 11,495 versus 11,295. There's 200 pounds in it. Yeah, 200 pounds in it. So basically, you're looking at the same price of premium. So that's the comparison. So I just want to say that Sterns in the UK are hugely more expensive than they are in the United States for reasons that we've discussed on numerous other videos. There's no point going into it now. The game itself looks to be absolutely packed, and I'm really looking forward to playing Avatar, and I'm looking forward to playing. As I look forward to playing every game. But the more I look at these Jersey Jack games, the more I sort of come to the conclusion I need to have one in my collection. I don't currently have a Jersey Jack game, and I'm lucky enough that when all said and done, when the dust settles, I'll have 9 games. And I'm very, very privileged and very lucky to be in that situation. I don't think there's ever any point where there's 9 games here in this house, but that's the position I find myself in. I think I need to find room within my collection for a Jersey Jack. When I talk about epic and I talk about event and I talk about film, I don't think I ever quite appreciated quite how much of an event it was until I played Hobbit at my friend John's house. I started hitting the flippers, and I have to say, I think going back to the Hobbit and the other games, up until Godfather, the flippers didn't feel quite right on a Jersey Jack. And as I understand it, I think you've got to credit Steve Ritchie with going in to Jersey Jack and fixing that. Now they feel like sharp, purposeful shots when you hit them. Felt a bit spongy before, but they've sorted that out. In spite of the difference in the flipper feel, when I played the Hobbit, I thought it was immersive. I thought it was incredible. If you're going, I don't mind whether there's a screen on a pinball machine or not, and I've made that quite clear before. Be it Dolly Parton, which is in the room behind me, 8-Ball Deluxe, which is being restored by Ants, or Pulp Fiction, which is on its way. No screen, no problem. But if you're going to have a screen, have a screen. And Jersey Jack, they really do put a screen on a pinball machine. So I was playing Hobbit, and I was doing something, I'd achieved something in the game which had awakened Schmaug. If you don't know who Schmaug is the dragon, voiced brilliantly by Benedict Cumberbatch, and it felt like the machine came alive. The dragon turned, the mechanism of the dragon turned, as I remember it. Exactly the same time it had that wonderful sequence from the film where the dragon strides down. He knows somebody's trying to steal his treasure. Looking for the Arkenstone, that was it. Bilbo's looking for the Arkenstone. and a dragon as he's stepping through the halls of Erebor. He's treading on coins, and this wonderful visual effect of these coins springing up under the claws, under the feet of the dragon, as he's searching for this burglar, which is obviously Bilbo Baggins at the time. Oh, it made me feel, it definitely raised my heart rate. I felt nervous. I felt a need to hit these shots. It created drama, real drama. I really felt it was a pinball moment. It was incredible. We were lucky enough to catch it on camera. It's somewhere on this channel. If you search on this channel, don't search over the main search bar on YouTube. Search on this channel, on the search bar, Hobbit. You'll find it in there. That's my first ever game on a Hobbit, and I was blown away. So I think that was really my first real awakening to quite how immersive a Jersey Jack game can be. But theme was important on that, because that is a theme that resonates with me. Well, you know, as I've already shown you before, I've got, you know, loads of Lord of the Rings stuff. I've got all the books. It's Lord of the Rings is my dream theme. It really is. So that was always going to resonate with me. But I've certainly been aware that they make a world under glass. Was certainly very wowed by their Guns N' Roses game, which I know, again, had its critics, playfield problems. Let's not forget that. A lot of people had playfield problems with those. People said it was too multi-ball heavy. But it was incredible. It was really incredible. The attention to detail, the two guitar necks on it, you had the Fender and you had the Gibson Les Paul, things like the cymbals on top of the pop bumpers, not using wire forms but using drumsticks instead. There's just a level of detail that Jersey Jack go into, which nobody, possibly with the exception of Dutch, nobody else goes to that level of detail. And I love it because it is an event. You sort of get the impression with Jersey Jack. I've often maintained, if I was going to get one novice person who'd never played pinball before, I was going to put them on the game, I'd probably put them on Champion Pub or something very, very easy, something like that. If they weren't going to play and I just wanted to show them a pinball machine, I'd show them a Jersey Jack, because it's a visual feast. And this is no different. The great irony is, the most recent Jersey Jack I had here was Elton John. And Elton John was, I think by almost all measurements, a success. Despite the anger and the hostility, we're going back to that again, that there was when it was released. People seemed very angry that it wasn't the theme that they wanted, and there was a resistance. Even before people had played it, people had decided already, before I played it, I'm not going to like it. I don't like the theme, it does nothing for me. However, I think it was so good it won many people over, and people played it and said, well, actually, that's pretty damn good. What I would say about Elton John was, and this is sort of an answer to people who say so many of the JJPs are screen-based. It didn't really do anything for me, the screen on Elton John. It was the gameplay, it was the music, it was the artwork, it was the shots. It was the way they brought this stunning visual effects together, particularly in terms of those radicals with that sort of the depth to the glitter and the artwork and the drawings on it was stunning, and the lighting, it was incredible. But I didn't feel with Elton John they made the best use of the screen. Maybe that was down to licensing. I'm not entirely sure. I mean, clearly they had licensing for the songs because pretty much all of his hits were in there. Well, he's got a lot of hits. You didn't feel that anything was really missing. Let's put it that way. But I guess because you were dealing with a singer-songwriter rather than a movie, you're quite limited to the clips that you can play. Whereas you saw the Hobbit, amazing movie clips on there. I don't think I haven't played The Wizard of Oz anywhere near enough to comment on how much video footage is on there, but I would assume there are lots. it would appear on Avatar that they have had full license for everything. I'm sure that's not the case. I'm sure there are things on there that aren't in there, but I hadn't noticed it. Whereas I very much felt, and I did the video here when I played John Wick, and I'm sorry it feels like I'm picking on John Wick. I'm not. It's just that sticks in my mind. There were things missing from it, and I don't just mean the guns. There wasn't. It felt like they maybe hadn't either coded it yet or got the permission to use Keanu Reeves' voice in it. I think what's immediately clear, just from looking at the 18-minute battle for Pandora Pinball deep dive from Jersey Jack they put out on their YouTube channel, I think it was immediately clear that they have any artistic rights that they might need, be it for the image of all the imagery from Pandora, the voices that were used in the film, the call-outs, and the cutscenes. I think if you're stood next to somebody that's playing Avatar, you're going to be absolutely wowed by what's happening on screen. The theme itself, I wouldn't say it does nothing for me. That's not true. I can appreciate it, and I can appreciate it's a visual feast. It's just not... Look, there are films that I could tell you every word from. Avatar's not one of them. Although I have seen the second film, the Way of the... It might be The Way of the Water. I'm sorry if I've got that wrong. It's pretty cool. The first film as well, let me just say this. I thought the first film was pretty good. And I hear a lot of criticism when people saying, well, it's just a copy of Pocahontas. Well, I don't care. I don't care. Well, Star Wars was just a copy of a samurai film, was it not? Did George Lucas not get out? You could say that about anything, I think. I'm cool with that. I don't mind if James Cameron or whoever wrote Atlantis ripped off Pocahontas or Fern Gully. I don't care, and I'll tell you why, because I don't want to play Pocahontas pinball. If you want to push for that, go for it. I don't want any. I won't be buying that game if anyone makes Pocahontas pinball. So look, it's a story of conquerors, of invasion, of somebody protecting their homeland. I get it. I thought it was pretty cool. But as I say, would I put it in my top 20? Wouldn't put it in my top 50 movies. But I do appreciate what it offers visually. I really do. Certainly much more looking forward to something like Harry Potter or certainly The Matrix. I mean, I prefer The Matrix to Harry Potter, but I can understand how Harry Potter would work. There's a lot to work with there, right? There's broomsticks, there's wands, there's wizards, there's witches, there's beasts, there's buildings. There's a lot that they can use on that. But we'll talk about that another time. So the theme, okay. But I'm not too bothered about the Uncanny X-Men theme. As I mentioned, I didn't used to watch X-Men cartoons. I certainly never had the comics. In many respects, I probably know more about Avatar. In fact, I do. I absolutely know more about Avatar than I do about X-Men comics. Although, as I mentioned, I have watched Logan. Good film. Great film. So, the theme's okay. Visual feast. I mentioned that earlier, that this game is a visual feast. I can imagine it's going to be very, very hard for them to film and record and translate to you and I how good this pinball machine looks. I remember having the same problem with Elton John. And I had, as I mentioned before, I had loads of cameras there, and I've got all these settings on the cameras. I'm changing all the settings in the menu and switching the camera on and going through all the menu settings on the camera. I haven't got a battery in there. I don't know why. I just tried to show you that. And just trying to really demonstrate quite how bright and quite how glittery the game was. Because I was looking at the game. I'd play the game and I'd start to edit the video, and I was thinking this video footage doesn't look as beautiful as it does in real life. So I was editing. I was playing around with the exposure levels and the ISO levels and just try, and the lighting in the cave here, and just trying to get that perfect shot. Never happened. It was the same with Stranger Things with the UV kit on as well. I played it and I loved it, and as is the case with this Jersey Jack game, it's a game to be played with the lights off, and they very much said that they designed this game with a view to it being played with the lights off, which is great. I love that. But I found myself trying to film Stranger Things when it went into the upside down. I was very unhappy with the footage, and I knew if I'm going to produce this video, and the person that's going to watch this video, you guys, basically, you're not going to see what I see. So I'm very aware that what we're going to look at now from Avatar is just going to be filmed, and I'm quite sure they've got more skilled cameramen working. Well, the production's absolutely amazing on the promotional video that they've just produced. I'm sure they've got more skilled camera people than me, but I still think it's going to look better in the flesh. And that's just the artwork. I have to say, the actual artwork on the side, on the cabinets, they look like they're red cows again. There's a bit too much yellow in it for me, but that's just a personal yellow and orange. A bit too much of that for me. I do like the whole blue thing of Avatar, if I'm honest. But I am very much expecting it when I see that game. Don't be surprised if I can't think of the... That's what I'm saying, I don't know too much about the theme. The animals that they fly on. The name will come to me at some point, but they've got sort of orange eyes, haven't they? Like dragon-like eyes. I wouldn't be surprised if they're glittery and there's a 3D effect to them. I wouldn't be surprised if that artwork is doing something that the camera doesn't quite pick up on. I think there'll be a depth to it because it's got those red cows on there, and I think red cows is just the way to go. And this is where I want to go back now to what I was saying about the price point in the UK. So when I'm looking at this thinking, do I want one of these games? I'm comparing it to a Stern Premium because the price is the same, give or take. I think my point is if you have £11,300 to spend on a pinball machine, you probably have £11,500 to spend on a pinball machine. That last, sort of £300, couple of £100 or whatever it is not going to make too much difference at all. So I think it's, it is to be compared with a Stern Premium. And I think that Stern Premium for that Uncanny X-Men looks packed. I really do. And it's entirely possible. And I think not only possible, I think it's important. I've hardly heard anyone say, very few people say, I like the look of the X-Men and Avatar. It really does. It's and maybe it is just personal preference, but I do feel there's a lot of that partisan thing going on. People are sort of almost taking sides. It's weird. It really is. I think they both look incredible. The irony is I may get neither, because as I said with the Uncanny X-Men, you've got to try and shoot these games. As good as it looks, it might be too hard for me to shoot. I might not like the rules. X-Men. John Wick was too hard for me. I'm not good enough. Not a good enough player. So I need a bit more of a forgiving game. So you need to shoot these things and work it out. So before you figure out whether they're contenders or not. And I think going back to the visual stuff on here, what they've tried to do with the lighting as well, where they've very much designed it so as you can play the game without the lights on. That's wonderful. One thing I have noticed is when it was switching between the modes, so they sort of have this eclipse mode. And it looks like, I guess the moon is blocking out the light from the sun. That's the effect. So you've got this shadow moving across the playfield. That's really cool. That is really cool. One thing I noticed when it was happening, you still had the UV going on in the two lower playfields. Stuff like that creates a real visual depth. I think it's going to be stunning. I really do. I'm very, very impressed with that. So the lighting, I don't think I could do the lighting any justice at all by talking about it anymore. I'm going to have to assess it when I play one. Two lower playfields, just mentioned. I think it's one lower playfield. I think one of them is almost like a a gateway to the lower playfield. So what happens is I think you hit the ball into a scoop and then it drops down. And there's one pop bumper under the playfield and the ball ricochets off that and hits a target. Not drop targets, but stand-up targets. I think from there, it then moves down to the secondary lower playfield, which is what it has with two lower flippers. The first thing I'd say about them is they look visually stunning. There's a real depth to them, which is really hard to see on a video screen. You know, when you're not obviously looking at it, I'm not watching a 3D promotional video here, so it's always hard to get depth, to gauge the depth of something. But very much, they do look to have really good sort of area recessed on them. I seem to remember somebody saying in the video that there was no more room left on the underside of the playfield. I bet. I would totally bet that that's the case. There's certainly a ball lock underneath the playfield as well. But then you get to the main playfield, which is there's two little flippers. Now, immediately, I was sort of looking forward to that. And in the promo video, they said, and it's got a smaller ball. And immediately, I thought, oh no. Because I really didn't like. I really loved the concept of Munsters, the lower playfield. And I have to say that one of the most incredible pinball moments I've ever had on Munsters is when you have to play the upper playfield and the lower playfield at the same time. It's incredible. A game that gets a lot of hate. But that's incredible when that happens. That being said, I didn't like the feel of them. And I'll tell you why. It's because the weight of the flippers were smaller, as was the ball. But it felt like the ratio was not right. And what I mean is, let's say the flippers were 20% smaller, or whatever, quarter smaller than regular size flippers. I didn't feel that the weight of the ball had come down in the same ratio. It felt very, very light. It almost felt like a polystyrene ball. It felt like a toy that you might get in a Christmas cracker. Yes, you could play the shots, but I didn't feel like I was playing pinball. And I want to feel like I'm playing pinball with any of this stuff. And I mentioned that when I was talking about the Uncanny X-Men. I remember I was speaking about upper playfields. I like upper playfields if I feel like I'm playing pinball. It's a strange game to pick out, but I mentioned it the other day. It is a strange game to pick out. But the upper playfield on Popeye, there is a shot where you have to play a shot off the upper playfield, which is sizable, and you have to play the shot for extra ball. It's a good shot. It's not just a good shot. It's a good shot for considering it's on an upper playfield. It's a good pinball shot. It's a good pinball shot. It really is. So I want to play proper pinball shots on a lower playfield. So I hope, and we'll never know, I hope they've got the weight of that ball correct. I want to be able to know that I can hit the shots. As far as I can see, there's an orbit. There's the submarine crab dude. It's going to have a name, right? I'm going to call it the submarine crab dude. I think there's two targets and a saucer underneath him. So I think, orbit both ways, two targets, saucer. I think you might be looking at 5 shots on that lower playfield. That's pretty damn cool. But it's got to feel right. It's got to feel right. Flippers, 6-flipper game. Pretty cool. 6-flipper game. 2 upper flippers. Obviously, the 2 flippers at the bottom where they should be, and of course you've got the 2 mini flippers as well. That's cool. Upper loop shots. I can't really speak with any authority on the shots, and I need to see more. I need to play. I don't want to say too much. It's hard. I'm always amazed how people can look at a pinball machine and they can work out ball paths and whatnot. And I was sent an incredible video by somebody, and you'd have to excuse me because I need to get a little bit more involved. I need to reply to some of my messages I've had over the last few days from people, certainly in the pinball community. Somebody has made some incredible software, and they had managed to create all the ball paths on the Uncanny X-Men on what seemed to be a virtual pinball machine 2 days after the release. It was incredible. So I'm always amazed when somebody knows, and you could play it, by the way. He showed me some video footage of him playing Uncanny X-Men on virtual pinball. At least I think that's what was happening. Excuse me if I'm mistaken. I'm pretty sure that was it. Sent me a video on private email. I think it's hard for me to say what the shots might be like on this game. There seems to be a ball save on it. So it seems to be one. So you know where you'd normally get a kickback on a traditional bally game, Whitewater or whatever the case may be. Star Trek Next Generation, the kickback. Right there, it seems that if you lose the ball down the out lane, it locks the ball and he'll save the balls up there. That was pretty cool. Also has this ball save. We talk about pinball moments. We talk about pinball creating drama. Earlier on I spoke of maybe it's called Schmaug Multi-Ball. Makes me nervous. It's the ring shot in Lord of the Rings when you're doing Destroy the Ring and Gollum's hanging off the edge of Mount Doom and you've got to hit that final shot. It makes you nervous, honestly. Well, there's something else that makes me nervous, which I think is really cool, is in Godzilla, and it's the oxygen tank. So you lose the ball and it gives you 10 seconds to hit a really simple shot, which is under the building, which you've been hitting all day. That's not a problem shot. That's an easy shot. No problem. Well, it is a problem because it's created drama. But you get to keep your ball if you do that, even though you've lost it. Apparently, they've got a ball save, which I think, reading between lines, like the oxygen tank, but it's not going to be the same shot every time. They'll basically tell you to do a shot to save the ball. I think that's pretty cool. They've got a sort of left-handed mode where you only got to use one hand. I like that. I think that works. You know, just some more things. You've got this hardware there, haven't you? It's like with Avengers Infinity Quest with the limited flips. I know it's been done other times, but that's what sticks in my mind. Avengers Infinity Quest, I did like one of the modes I really liked on that game was the limited flips ones. So you're just trying to be creative with the hardware that you've already got. So I like that left-hand combos. That's it. Yeah, that's cool. I'd prefer right-handed combos. I'm better at hitting pinball shots with my right because I'm right-handed. Maybe we could discuss that another time. Be interested to know if that's the case for you. You better with one hand or the other in terms of playing pinball. So that's really cool. I don't want to talk too much about the shots, as I say. There's an upper spinner on a ramp. We'll discuss it. We'll do it. Look, we'll get the game in. We'll do a real deep dive on that. And I've certainly. Well, I think I should probably say now. That we have the game coming. We have the game coming very, very soon to Flipperama Towers. And I can only really thank Pinball Heaven, channel sponsors, and Jersey Jack for sending it over, which I'm sort of in awe of that, really. And it means an awful lot for that to happen, to get hands on the game so quickly. And I mean, it's coming very soon. And to be able to look at it, be able to play it, and to be able to give my feedback to you guys as well, particularly so early when it's not been sort of officially, it's not available. You can't go to the arcade and play it yet. You can't go to your local distributor and pick one up. So the fact that one of those is a test one is being flown over here for me to do a review on is really, really cool. And honestly, I feel completely privileged, completely honoured, and obviously I'll be inviting people around to play it. Of course, it would be wrong for me to keep it to myself. So that's going to be really cool. The topper on the CE. I wish pinball companies wouldn't do this. So the Ellie is the base model on Jersey Jack, but the Ellie is the top model on Stern. I'm not sure which way round Spooky do it. But anyway, the CE, the top model of Avatar, the topper is incredible. It's incredible. It's got this 3D hologram stuff going on. It's a dashboard. I think what it is, you know when Stephen Lang is in that mechanised vehicle. Now, Stephen Lang, he's the bad guy, right? He's the bad guy in it. Who they've got to do some voiceovers in this. They've got... fair play, honestly. Fair play to these companies who do this stuff. Certainly was the same with... I don't like John Wick, but they got Ian McShane in, who plays Winston, to do the call-outs. That's cool. I think Jersey Jack might have even got Tim Allen to do call-outs on Toy Story 4. So they got Stephen Lang to do call-outs on it. Yeah, that's impressive. Did they not get Dreyfus? Stern got Dreyfus to do the Jaws ones. Top marks, honestly. Top marks for that. I think that's great. But anyway, when Stephen Lang's in this, I can't remember what character he plays, but he's a bad dude. So he operates in this mechanised suit, and there's a dashboard in front of him with all the data on it. I think that's what's on the topper. That's pretty incredible. It's great fun. Look, pinball is amazing. Pinball is amazing, and I think if anything, I'm so disappointed that people feel that they're so disappointed by it and upset by it. I think it's such a shame. It is such a shame, because I do think it's an incredible time to be in pinball, and I'm feeling that myself, and it doesn't. And I play more pinball than I've ever been playing. It doesn't matter if I'm playing Dolly Parton, Attack from Mars, or Whitewater. I'm having a great time, a really great time playing pinball. And if I don't like Avatar, then no problem. I won't get one. I will get a Jersey Jack game. There's no doubt about it. I absolutely will at some point. Maybe I hold on. Maybe I keep my powder dry. Maybe I wait for Harry Potter. Maybe I go and get that Hobbit. Go and get one of those or something. But I think I'll have to get one. But it may well be that I end up having to get something else. I don't want that. Dutch have got Alice coming out soon. That's going to be really cool. And I've got to say a massive congratulations to my friend Stumblaw, whose Lollipop 3 boards are going to change the face of mod making in the world of pinball. And he's now doing a very close tie-up with Dutch and the Offshoot Company, which is an acronym which I can't remember off the top of my head. Do apologise, but they're creating Alice. That's going to be an incredible game, because those guys do have the same level of attention to detail that the guys at Jersey Jack do. It's going to be a Popajuk design, isn't it, as well? So that's going to be incredible. I honestly, I think it's an incredible time to be in the pinball hobby. And look, most of these games we're not going to be able to get, and we can't get, but it doesn't mean we can't find them and we can't enjoy them. And certainly, as I say, if I probably have hopefully Avatar here for 2 or 3 weeks maybe, and I'll clear some time and I'll make sure some people get some time on the game and get a chance to enjoy it themselves. But look, overall, what a game! It looks to be incredible. I say what a game. I've not played the game. What a pinball machine! What a feast! An absolute visual feast. Can't wait to play one. I said it before, I'll say it again. I can't wait to see what they produce next, but I cannot wait to see what anyone produces next, really. Watch this space, I guess. Watch this space. Competition is very, very high at the moment. And I said it after Uncanny X-Men, that they keep pushing each other to higher and higher levels. Do you remember Gillette? Well, you say remember Gillette around now. I remember when Gillette made a razor, and they disposable razors for years. And Gillette came out and they said, we've done something marvellous. They called it the Mac 2. They created a razor that had 2 blades. 2 blades! The closest ever shave. The best a man can get. You can't say that anymore. But the best shave. 2 blades. Wonderful. Wilkinson's sword said, hold my beer. 3 blades. I don't know where this stuff stopped. There was definitely a point where somebody had... someone had 5 blades on a razor blade. Five things. I think it could have taken your head off or something. Apparently that was the way. As you can see, I've certainly not been using one. I think they went down to less is more. Maybe that's CGC with Pulp Fiction. That's the less is more. But at the moment, all the flippers. There's flippers everywhere. They're all 5 blade in it. Jersey Jack and Stern. All their flippers on their games. Great time. It's basically an arms race, isn't it? An arms race of razor blades. Brilliant. Great fun. Let me know what you think about it. I think I know. You can't tell me what you think of the game, but I think I know. By and large, I think people are saying this reveal, this official deep dive. That's how you promote a pinball machine. There we go. However, I've been talking for 40 minutes. I sort of apologise. Proof of the pudding's in the tasting. Got to play them now.